It is the 1980s. We are in Majenang, a remote village in Indonesia. On the surface, it looks like any other rural town, but beneath this soil lie countless cursed bodies. There's a terrifying legend here. Once the sun sets, a group of figures emerges. They carry a coffin, a funeral procession of the dead. They say if these entities catch you looking at them, you won't live to see the morning. But to understand the horror, we have to look back 10 years. During a period of intense gang violence in East Java, a notorious group called the Sugali ruled the streets. These weren't just criminals, they were practitioners of black magic. People whispered that bullets and blades couldn't touch them. During a brutal massacre, one man was decapitated. With his dying breath, he placed a dark curse on this village. As long as his bloodline survives, no one in Majenang will ever be safe. Meet Zia. She is a young woman living in the city, but today she is returning to Majenang against her mother's dying wishes. She's accompanied by her close friend Dika. Zia is heartbroken. She didn't get to say goodbye to her mother before she passed. As they drive through the winding roads, Zia reveals a dark family secret. Her father has been missing for 10 years, vanished without a trace. The atmosphere is heavy. The birds in the sky are restless, fluttering as if they sense a storm of blood approaching. The moment Zia's foot touches the village soil, a massive crack of thunder echoes through the valley. The curse has felt her presence. By the time they arrive, the funeral is already over. Zia meets her grandfather, Danang, the village leader, but there are no hugs or tears of joy. Danang looks at her with eyes full of dread and hidden secrets. "I told you never to come back here," Danang growls. He is visibly shaken. He doesn't even acknowledge Dika. He tells Zia bluntly that the burial is finished and she needs to leave for the city immediately. Zia is stunned. "Don't you love me? Don't you want me to stay for a few days?" Danang softens for a second, telling her he loves her, but his fear is greater. He knows something she doesn't. He quickly calls his assistant Prapto and orders a village meeting. The message is simple and terrifying. "Ida's daughter is here. You all know what to do. Lock your doors. Do not come out for prayer. And if you see them, whatever you do, do not look them in the eye." The village is paralyzed by fear, though the local police are skeptical. They think it's just old superstitions. Meanwhile, Zia is in her old family home, holding her mother's clothes, trying to find comfort in her scent. Suddenly, a rubber ball bounces down the stairs. Thud, thud, thud. Zia goes upstairs. She sees a rocking horse moving on its own. She stops it, but then a strange scratching noise comes from a locked metal tank in the corner. Before she can investigate, Danang appears. He demands to know why she hasn't packed yet. When she asks about the tank, he brushes it off, claiming it's nothing. Outside, Dika is suspicious. Zia whispers to him that she thinks her grandfather is hiding something about her father's disappearance. She reveals that last year her mother was desperate to tell her something, but Danang blocked every attempt. He claimed coming here would bring a great disaster. Evening falls. The sky turns a bruised purple and lightning dances across the clouds. Zia and Dika try to leave, but there's a problem. Their car has a flat tire. Zia secretly admits she punctured it herself. She isn't ready to leave without answers. Danang is terrified. He tells them, "If you hear someone calling your name from the shadows tonight, do not turn around." He takes Dika to look for a mechanic, leaving Zia alone. While Dika is walking through the foggy woods, he stops for a cigarette. He looks through his diary and notices a strange, disturbing drawing he doesn't remember making. Suddenly, the air turns ice cold. Two pale, shadowy feet appear near him. He blinks and they are gone. Panicked, he starts calling for Danang, but the village lights flicker and die. The Kromoleo, the coffin bearers, are here. They march through the thick fog, their footsteps silent. A village policeman spots them. He tries to shout, "Go home, where are you going?" But then he sees their faces. He screams and runs for his life. Another villager, Mila's mother, sees them through her window. Shaking with terror, she grabs her daughter Mila and hides her inside a wooden wardrobe. "Do not come out no matter what happens," she whispers. Back at the car, Dika is hiding in the shadows. Zia finds him and he grabs her, his eyes wide with horror. "We have to leave now. There are things in this village. They aren't human. I saw the procession. I saw the dead carrying a coffin." Total chaos breaks out. The policeman finds his partner John, but it's too late. They see another villager acting possessed, slamming his own head against a wall until his skull cracks. Blood spatters everywhere. Before John can react, an invisible force slices through the air. John's hand is severed cleanly off his arm, landing right in front of Zia and Dika. Dika is suddenly lifted into the air by his throat, gasping for breath as an invisible entity strangles him. Just before his neck snaps, Danang arrives and fires a gun into the air. The sound breaks the spell and Dika drops to the ground. While they flee into the woods, the horror continues at Mila's house. An invisible force drags Mila's mother across the floor and lifts her into the air. Through the cracks of the wardrobe, Mila watches in silent agony as her mother's body is ripped open, her organs spilling onto the floor. Danang, Zia, and Dika are running through the dense jungle. Something grabs Dika's leg, pulling him into the darkness. Danang pulls out a small mirror, the only way to see these invisible demons. Using the reflection, he helps Dika break free. "Go," Danang shouts. "I know how to handle them. Get to Mila's house." Dika drags a reluctant Zia away, leaving her grandfather behind. They are terrified, exhausted, and hunted. They finally reach Mila's house, hoping for safety. But in Majenang, the night is only just beginning. The house is swallowed by a suffocating darkness. As Zia and Mila step inside, they call out for help, but the only response is a haunting, heavy silence. Dika desperately tries to call their driver, but the phone lines are dead. There is no connection to the outside world. As Zia scans the room, her eyes land on a dark trail of blood on the floor. She slowly looks up and lets out a blood-curdling scream. Hanging from the ceiling is the mutilated, shredded body of Mila's mother. The sight is horrific. Hearing Zia's scream, Mila, who is still hiding inside the wardrobe, begins to shriek in terror. Zia rushes to her, asking what happened. Through choked sobs, Mila reveals the truth. The Kromoleo have come. They are trapped and the way out is blocked by the shadows. Dika realizes they have to leave this house immediately if they want to survive the night. Suddenly, headlights cut through the dense midnight fog of the jungle. A car is approaching. Relieved, they wave their hands, signaling for help. But as the vehicle gets closer, the light flickers and vanishes. It wasn't a car at all, it was a cruel hallucination. In that moment of confusion, Dika collapses. He looks down and screams in agony. His legs are gone. He's bleeding out on the forest floor. Zia and Mila desperately try to carry Dika, but the pain is too much for him to bear. Knowing his end is near, Dika looks at Zia, the girl he always cared for, and finally finds the courage to say the words he kept hidden: "I love you." Seconds later, an invisible force rips his body open. His internal organs are torn out right in front of Zia's eyes. The trauma is too much. Zia's mind snaps and she falls into a deep, unconscious faint. Elsewhere, Danning rushes to Prapto's house. He is frantic. "Where is the protection charm?" he demands. He wants Prapto to come with him, but Prapto's wife blocks the way, refusing to let her husband back into the nightmare. Prapto hesitates to hand over the sacred locket, but Danning is desperate. Meanwhile, an old blind man named Yanto has kidnapped Zia and Mila. When Zia tries to scream, he silences her. "I have been waiting for you for a long time," he whispers. "Today the wait ends." He utters one word that sends shivers down their spines: Kromoleo. He tells them that every death tonight is because of this cursed procession. Back at Prapto's, Danning finally forces him to hand over the locket. He reveals a terrifying truth. Zia's father has been resurrected. To protect himself, Danning also takes some special salt-infused bullets from Prapto. Back with the girls, Yanto reveals his identity. He notices a protective charm around Zia's neck, identical to the one her grandfather carries. He snatches it from her. "This is what has been keeping you alive," he says. Zia asks what it was protecting her from. Yanto grins. "From your father's curse." Then the dark history of 1984 is finally revealed. The Sugali gang was a group of powerful terrorists who used black magic to become immortal. One of their members was Gerard, Zia's father. Yanto explains that the real villain isn't the gang, but Zia's own grandfather, Danning. Danning never accepted Gerard as his son-in-law. He played a double game, joining a rival group to learn Gerard's secrets. Eventually, Danning captured Gerard and beheaded him with his own hands. Before he died, Gerard cursed the entire village. Yanto reveals a sickening detail. The charm Zia wore was made from her father's own teeth. That is why the spirits couldn't touch her. The Sugali members who were killed became the Kromoleo, restless spirits who dig up graves and carry coffins. If you look them in the eye, you are doomed. Yanto admits he blinded himself on purpose just so he would never have to see them. As Danning leaves Prapto's house, a knock sounds at the door. It sounds like Danning's voice asking to come back in. Prapto goes to open it, but his wife senses something is wrong. She points frantically behind him. The Kromoleo procession is standing right there in the yard. Without the protection charm that Danning took, Prapto's family is defenseless. An invisible force grabs Prapto's wife by the throat and lifts her into the air. Prapto runs for the salt bullets, but they are gone. He watches his wife die and tries to bolt the door, but when he turns around, a Kromoleo is standing in front of him. In a flash, Prapto's body is sliced vertically in two from head to toe. Danning eventually finds the car, but finds only dead bodies. Meanwhile, Mila regains consciousness and finds herself tied up. She overhears Yanto talking to Zia. He explains that Danning buried Gerard in two separate places, the head in one spot, the body in another, to prevent him from rising. "If you join the head to the body," Yanto says, "your father will live again. But there is a catch. The only way to truly kill the curse is for a blood relative to kill the monster." Danning wants Zia to use a blade coated in her own blood to stab her father and end the lineage forever. Zia promises to stop the curse, but Yanto has other plans. He was a Sugali member too. He hates this village because the people stayed silent while his friends were slaughtered. He wants the villagers to suffer. Just as Yanto points a gun at Zia, Danning bursts in. A violent struggle breaks out and Danning manages to pull Zia away. She demands the truth, but Danning just says, "Trust me, I'll explain later." Zia refuses to move. Finally, Danning snaps. He tells her that Gerard was a monster who practiced dark arts and terrorized the village. Even Zia's mother hated him when she learned the truth. Danning claims he had to kill Gerard or someone else would have. Zia doesn't believe him. She remembers a father who loved her. In a fit of rage, she rips off her protective charm and throws it away. Immediately, the Kromoleo sense her. They swarm the house. Danning realizes there's only one option left. He must resurrect Gerard now to deal with the spirits. He runs to the garage where Gerard's headless torso is hanging. Outside, the Kromoleo are closing in on Zia. Terrified, she looks inside their coffin and sees her own dead body staring back. Suddenly, invisible hands grab her throat. She sees a demonic figure, her father. "Father, it's me, Zia," she gasps, but the monster doesn't recognize her. In the garage, Danning opens the locked tank. Inside is Gerard's severed head. He places the head on the body and shoves the teeth from the charm into the mouth to complete the ritual. Suddenly, Yanto appears and stabs Danning in the neck. As Danning bleeds, Gerard's soul rushes back into his body. He is alive. Yanto unties the ropes, freeing the monster and begs for mercy. But Gerard is no longer human. He grabs Yanto and drains the fresh blood from his body. Finally, Gerard stands before the wounded Danning. "I've waited years for this," the monster seems to hiss. For Danning, the punishment is just beginning. It's revealed that Danning was the one who pushed Gerard to master black magic in the first place, using him as a weapon until even Gerard's wife Ida couldn't stand the sight of what her husband had become. The truth finally comes out. It turns out that years ago, Gerard actually tried to leave his life of crime and black magic behind to live a normal life with his family. But Danning didn't believe him. He was convinced Gerard was still the same monster as before, and he felt forced to kill him. After the murder, Danning felt a wave of regret, but it was too late. The blood was already on his hands. Back in the present, Zia enters the room. She sees her father, Gerard, standing there in human form. Tears fill her eyes as she rushes forward to hug him. She cries to him, telling him it's natural to be angry at her grandfather, but she begs him to forgive Danning. Gerard looks at his daughter with cold, hollow eyes. "You are just like your mother," he says. She also loved to forgive people, but his voice turns sharp as he adds, "But this man, he does not deserve forgiveness." He roughly pushes Zia aside and moves toward Danning to finish what he started years ago. Zia pleads and begs for mercy, but her father refuses to listen. His heart is gone. Seeing no other choice, Zia realizes she has to fulfill the prophecy to save her grandfather. She takes a knife and smears her own blood across the blade. With a trembling hand and a broken heart, she stabs her own father. Gerard falls. The curse of his physical form is ended by his own bloodline. Zia's grandfather, Danning, is losing a lot of blood from his injuries. Zia desperately tries to help him up to take him to hospital, but Danning can feel his life slipping away. He knows he won't make it. Suddenly, a shadow appears in the doorway. It's Mila, and she's holding a gun. Her face is twisted with rage and grief. "I heard everything," Mila screams. "My mother is dead because of you, Zia. I won't let you live." Mila pulls the trigger, firing wildly at them. In a final, desperate act of strength, Danning lunges forward with a knife and strikes Mila, killing her instantly. The room falls silent. Danning is dead. Zia lies on the floor, her body becoming numb. She can feel death approaching, but she isn't ready to go. Her eyes fall on the bloody knife she used to kill her father, the knife coated in the blood of a black magic immortal. In a moment of pure desperation, Zia reaches for the blade. She licks the blood from the steel. A dark energy surges through her veins. Her wounds begin to heal, but her humanity vanishes. Zia has transformed. She's now a Kromoleo, a creature of the night that cannot be killed by bullets or blades. The cycle of the curse does not end, it simply finds a new host. In the end, Majenning teaches us that some secrets are buried for a reason, and trying to dig up the past often only unearths our own destruction. Zia's journey shows that while we try to escape the sins of our fathers, the blood in our veins carries a debt that must eventually be paid.